Welcome back, conscious creators, to week 8 of the Christos Chronicles. I am Christos, and today we have a really special discussion, which is suiting for the times that we are in 2026, March. And this energy has honestly been bubbling for some time over the past couple of decades, so I'm not surprised at where we are in the current state as far as today's topic, which is war. We all rise. Now, I know a lot of people think about war in a negative light, but I think that with anything in life, it comes with two sides, dark and light. What I honestly think that the universe is challenging the collective of humanity to arrive at is rising collectively and understanding that we cannot do it individually because we are much stronger as a collective. And I think this is something that we overlook when we are upset with governments, systems, whatever it may be. We have to organize in order to overthrow systems that are corrupt, systems that do not support humanity's evolution and growth. This is our responsibility as a collective, not individually. And I think that this is something that we have been striving to do on an individual level for the past couple of years and striving collectively, but things have happened. Now in 2026, I believe that we have entered a collective awakening where the veil is now being removed, especially with things like the Epstein files being revealed and all other things. I think that a lot of Americans are fed up with the secrecy, the manipulation, and deceptiveness of American government and politicians. So that brings us to today's topic. We all rise. War. So right now, if you are living in America or the Western world, then you're kind of being flooded and overloaded with a lot of media content that is formulated around the animosity between Iran and America. Now, this is nothing new. If you are a history person, then you know that Iran and America has been at odds for a long time now. And I don't see this coming to a halt anytime soon unless someone is willing to surrender, which I do not think America or Iran is willing to do. So this is why we are honestly in almost a Cold War with Iran alongside with Israel. The United States is technically fighting a battle that it doesn't really have to. It's just gotten itself involved. So that is the repercussions of alliance when it comes to war and things of that nature from a political level. Now let's talk about the spiritual meaning of Iran versus the United States. Iran does sit in the Middle East, which is considered the eastern hemisphere of the globe, whereas the United States sits on the western hemisphere. So these are two completely different philosophies and ideologies at the end of the day. And this is ultimately why America wants to overthrow Iran's regime, is because they do not identify with it. Now, I do believe that this is beyond just something physical, because even when I did my own research and I looked up the Iranian regime, it's been the same regime since 1979. And with that being said, Iran really hasn't done too many things to provoke the United States or any of its adversaries. So I feel like with this war that we're getting ready to experience or currently going through right now, it's spiritual. And the reason why I say that is because as someone through my spiritual practices who has gotten acquainted with Eastern teachings and religions, I've actually had the opportunity to practice Orthodox Islam for 7 years. And those people in Iran, I can identify with because I practice the same form of faith as them, which is Shiite Islam. And Shiite Islam, they believe that in the end times there will be the return of a Messiah known as the Mahdi, the awaited one. And this is something that they have been awaiting for some time now, and it's prophetic, similar to how the Jews are awaiting the return of a Messiah, or similar to the Christians and how they are awaiting the return of a Messiah, right? Now, with that being said, if both parties are waiting on the return of a Messiah, then we know that something spiritual is in between both parties' agenda. I believe that Iran is honestly not necessarily in the right, because I'm not behind closed doors, but I believe that Iran is pretty much just standing up for their country's sovereignty and their rights, whereas the United States is more so trying to infiltrate and impose the new world order region by region, just small city by small city. This is what the United States does. They build United States military bases on every country, so that way the country, struggles with keeping their influence out. So this is what we're seeing right now with Iran and America. Iran looks at America as Baal, or as a polytheist nation, a nation that indulges in pedophilia, child sacrifice, etc. So they do not identify with anything that America stands for. So I'm just giving you all context. Whereas on the other side, America looks at Iran as a terrorist state, a dangerous state because they could acquire nuclear bombs, etc. But we don't know who's in the right, who's in the wrong. We're just humanity on the outside looking in. So it is up to us to use our discernment. And this is why I tell people all the time in all of my videos, spirituality is the ability to discern spirits, because spirits exist on every plane of existence, from the plant kingdom to the spiritual kingdom. So when we look at spirituality, we cannot just look at spirituality as our own individual practices. It's something that we all have to collectively understand and discern together to know this is not a system that is in our favor. This is not a system that is promoting the longevity of humanity's existence. So that's where we're at right now in humanity, is spiritual warfare between countries that stand on their own religious and theological concepts, I could say. Now, in America, the collective conscious is awakening. The American government cannot hide a lot of the secrets that they've been trying to hide from the citizens. And I think that this is what's really fueled the distraction between Iran and the United States, is the revelation of the Epstein files, seeing a lot of important figures that we elected are now, trying to distract us with this war. So that's really what this war is all about. It's about continuing to pull the veil over the American citizens, because they know that if they can distract Americans, then we'll forget about it and we'll move on to the next tragedy. But I think that this situation is a little bit more different, because most of us have awakened to the gaslighting of our government. Now, there's another important cosmic event that has happened, and I believe that, people who are in power are aware of this, because it's all, in my opinion, orchestrated. Now, cosmically, Saturn entered Aries, and this was on February, I believe, 13th or 14th, and it's going to stay in Aries until about 2028. So my prediction for any type of physical combat, if there is, between the United States probably sending troops to Iran, etc., I believe that it probably might take place between now and August, because in the summer, the energy shifts a lot cosmically, from us going into Aries next season, going into Taurus, going into Gemini. I believe a lot of this energy will fuel or influence the next coming events leading into the summer, because Saturn will be in Aries really intensely. So with that being said, I believe that a lot of people do need to start preparing for some type of physical war of some standard. And I don't believe it necessarily even has to be externally. I believe the universe is also challenging everyone to take on their internal battles during the season of Saturn being in Aries for the next 2 years. Because at the end of the day, self-awareness is the all spark to spirituality. So if humanity is awakened, no matter where you are in your journey, right now you are being called into a higher level of self-awareness. And that self-awareness is going to come through discipline, is going to come through establishing time, routine, and correcting karma. And I believe that this is what the energy is really setting the tone for it is karmic debt to be realized and for karmic debt to be worked towards being paid off. So I believe that that's what we're all experiencing, not just from a micro level, but also to a macro collective level, even to our government. People don't think about the karma that the United States has coming back to them. Look at the people that we've killed even during this short time period with this war. The United States killed the leader of Iran. They killed the supreme leader. They also tried to bomb a hospital, but somehow ended up hitting a girls' school in Iran, which killed 165 young girls. So this is all karma that's coming back to the United States. And we're all going to be held collectively accountable as well if we live in the United States too. So I think that this is what we have to realize as collective spiritual individuals, is that we need to come together and orchestrate and voice ourselves, however that looks, and say, hey, enough is enough. Because if we don't, then our freedom is at stake, our privacy at stake, our children's future are at stake. So I believe that this is what the current times is really calling for in 2026 right now, which I told you all before was the Great Reset. And the Great Reset is all about ushering in the New World Order, the mark of the beast, immortality, control, one world banking, etc. So right now is a time to get right within, and also to let that light that is starting to shine within to shine into the world and inspire others as well to speak up, to fight for themselves, to fight for others. Because I believe that that is the greatest war that we have in this lifetime, is the war between our own individual selves and the war that we will face going out into the world and dealing with other people who have differences of beliefs, differences of culture, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, we're all one human race, and we must find a way to have balance, to have solitude and peace amongst each other. So that's today's message, guys. I hope this message resonate with you all. Feel free, if you need my consulting services, to hit the link down below. Until the next week, wholeness.